Hi everyone, this is Crazywargamerz Christian here. I'm here making a video response to Auxelion, who stated that he believed that the Tyranid Lictor was the second worst unit in the Tyranid army. No disrespect intended, but I think he is wrong on this, mainly because I believe he may be using it wrong. He made a few claims in it that I will be telling him, or at least telling the public, exactly my views on it and how a Lictor should be used. Hopefully this will clear some things up. If you have any questions, Auxelion, or anybody else for that matter, feel free to send us a message. Thanks. Now, in Auxelion's video, he made the claim of putting a Lictor next to a Chimera and using its flesh hooks to do some rending abilities on the Chimera. First off, that's not a very wise idea. I don't have a Chimera because I don't play Imperial Guardsman, but I do have something that can be relatively akin to it, and that is a Chaos Predator here. Let's use a little bit of an example here to get things going. Now, in the codex it says that a Lictor can be placed anywhere on the table whenever it comes into play, so long as it is no less than 2 inches away from an enemy. Well, for example, if you put a Lictor right next to the tank, that is a bad idea in and of itself. If you put a Lictor anywhere near armor, he's going to get gunned down. That's not a very wise choice, because easily the heavy bolters on this sponson here can just gun him down. It's strength 5 AP before negating his armor save. That, I believe, is a very unwise choice. Also in Auxelion's movie, he stated that putting a Lictor in front of the line of fire just because he can be placed there is also something that he said was done. They said, oh, that's cool, put him right here, and then he gets shot up to death. Well, yeah, you put any unit right in front of an enemy squad, and he's going to get gunned down. He's going to be shot away. If, for instance, if he puts in front of Chaos Space Marines with the bolter strength 4 AP 5, that's still going to cut through his armor. So even then, it's not a very wise choice. Based on my past experiences playing as Tyranids for 2 years and making the transition from 4th edition codex to the new 5th edition codex, I can clearly tell you exactly how a Tyranid Lictor should be played in the new edition. First off, a Lictor is not meant to be a heavy assault unit where that can take out whole scores of troops in just a matter of minutes. A Lictor is meant to be more of a support role, meant to take out small pockets of resistance that can prove dangerous to your other squads. Like, for instance, we've got a Chaos Space Marine squad here that's possibly aiming at another foe across the board. Now, the bolter's rapid fire range can do a lot of damage. For the sake of argument, let's just say it's the Tyranid turn, and he had that Lictor not in deep strike, but maybe he moved him across the table, maybe just under the cover of basic cover, giving an addition to his armor save. Well, in his next turn, we could easily just roll his move through cover roll and see what he'd get. He would get a 4 and allow him to move up to 4 inches, which would, since my measuring tape's on the other end of the table there, put him right there. It's in perfect range of assault. And then in the next turn, the flesh hooks, which are not meant to be a dangerous weapon, much of a support weapon to enable him to just maybe take out 1 or 2 to lessen the job on him before he assaults. And his ballistic skill is low, so I will give you that. He needs 4s to hit. Hits with 1. And now he needs 2s to wound and 6s of rends. He wounds. He gets a wound on that little flesh hook. And now they need 3 to save. And they don't, because my rolls usually get kind of poor later on. And that causes 1 guy to die. That's 2 less attacks from the Chaos Space Marines that he has to worry about in close combat. So he can easily jump in there, and since he'll be getting the jump on them, he'll be able to go first with his full 4 attacks, and his Scything Talons are allowing him to reroll all failed hits. Let's go ahead and get that out here. Weapon skill 6, 3s to hit. Got a 1, got to reroll that. And now he needs 2s to wound. 6s are rends again. 2 rends and a wound, and they would have to pass their save. Cocked. I hate that. That's a save. So 2 guys automatically gone from the combat. And now they would get their attacks back. They need 4s to hit them. 2 hit. And now they need 4s to wound them. They got no wounds. 2 3s. Now, since the Chaos Space Marines in that squad lost that combat by 2, they would need to take a leadership of 7 or fall back. Cocked. Now, since that's 2 1s, that's insane heroism, but just for the sake of argument, say they fell back. Say they got, which I'm probably guessing this next roll is going to be worse. Yeah, say for instance they got a 10 like that. They would be falling back. And they would need to roll the typical fallback move, the sweeping advance, that kind of deal. This is the Chaos Space Marine roll. 1 plus 4 is a 5. Lictor, he's going to catch him up regardless, yeah. And he takes them out. Totally eliminates the unit. And that gives him a chance to consolidate into cover. He's got a 6, which allow him to go right into here. He took out an entire unit right by himself. And that allowed him to consolidate back into cover so that he wouldn't get shot at in later turns. So that's what he's designed for, is he's designed to take out small pockets of enemy units and then dart away into cover. Since he gets a natural bonus to his cover save, it's easy for him just to move in and out of cover and stay alive. Say for sake of argument, maybe he didn't kill them. Maybe he didn't get them in a sweeping advance as it was before. Now what he could do is a hit and run. And Exelion also made the claim that nobody uses hit and run, when that's not true. My friend Steppy, who's in our team, who plays Chaos Demons, has a Keeper of Secrets who has hit and run, and he uses it every chance he gets. Hit and run allows you, if you pass a leadership, which I didn't do there, but say for instance I did, like that. I got a 5 and a 1, that's a 6. He did pass his leadership, allows him to move 3d6 away from the enemy unit in any direction he please. That's a 12 inch, so that right there gives him 12 inches to move any direction he wants away from the unit. He's basically reduced their number and left them nothing but 2 basic Chaos Marines. That's only 4 shots if rapid fire, 2 shots from a long range bolter, and 2 enemies that can easily be taken down by Brutagons. Hopefully that video cleared a few things up. Me being an avid Tyranid player for a few years, I've used Tyranids very, very, very much, and I gotta admit the Lictor has got to be one of my favorite pieces in the army, simply because he can move into an assault, undercover, and deep strike anywhere he pretty much very damn well pleases. In the old codex, he could only deep strike in areas of terrain, and even if he deep striked off of it, he would still have to follow the deep strike rules if he was within 1 inch of an enemy unit. Of course, if he moved off of the piece of area terrain, he would still just go to the very edge of the terrain at most. In the new codex, you can place him anywhere you want on the field, within 2 inches of an enemy unit, or at the least within 2 inches of an enemy unit. You can place him anywhere else in the field you want. And he acts as a homing beacon, basically, for drop pods, trigons, raveners, anything else that deep strikes. With the Lictor, on the other hand, he is a very brittle creature. He can easily be broken. That's a given fact, and I will give you the credit for that, Exelion. He's a very brittle creature. He can go down from basically anything, but that is why you keep him in cover moving across the board. If he's in the game at the very beginning, which I highly recommend you put him out there at the very beginning, you don't want him popping in behind an enemy squad and then getting gunned down, or much less popping him in cover and him having to constantly make move through cover checks. Yes, he does get the move through cover 3d6 just like all Tyranid creatures, but really it's not really worth it when you want him in the small units taking him out. Say if you're fighting Space Marines and they're using scouts, the best thing you want to do is you want to take out those scouts with a Lictor. You want to pop him in from behind him, flesh hook one of them, and then get out of there. Flesh hook is a strength 6, AP nothing. Yeah, it's strength 6, so you can still deal some damage to the smaller squads. You want a Lictor in there taking out the squads that are not going to be focused on too much by shooting and are not going to be focused on by close combat. They're sort of off in the corner, off away from the rest of the army. You want the Lictor in there, or 2 Lictors or so, killing them off. And to give him some support, throw some Termagants in there with him, or some Harmagants just near him, so in case he does come into a little bit of trouble, or in case there is an enemy squad that does come in there that can hurt the Lictor, you want those Harmagants or Termagants distracting the fire. Because really, who cares about Harmagants dying? Or Termagants for that matter. There's tons of them. Whenever I played, I ran maybe 10 Termagants average. But those were in separate squads. I would run 10 Termagants in one squad, 10 Termagants in another squad, and 10 Termagants in another squad. I didn't like using Harmagants that often. In place of Harmagants, I'd throw Gene Stealers. I ran a Gene Stealer heavy army. And whenever I ran Lictors, I would run them for specific roles. Like, one of my Tyranid armies was a Vanguard army. That was a few Raveners, some Lictors, and a bunch of Gene Stealers, and a Tyranid Prime equipped for close combat. Lictors are perfect, and absolutely perfect for the Vanguard role. They're perfect for taking out enemy resistance, maybe taking out weaker HQs, which, to be honest, I don't recommend, but if you have no other choice, you might as well do it. And I would use him for knocking enemies off objectives, destroying light armored creatures, and maybe, if you're lucky, holding up some walkers, which I do not recommend at all. If you're going to attack a walker with anything, attack it with a Carnifex, or a tank. You, Exelion, made the claim of throwing a Lictor next to a Chimera. Not recommended at all. I would not even think about doing that. he's not going to do anything to it, so why put him there? If he's even got the slightest chance of being gunned down or run over or taking out an assault, do not put the Lictor near him. Use the Lictor as a shock troop. Someone who's going there, pop in, go, whoa, where did he come from? Oh, or hey, that sniper squad's just been gunned down. Throw them in against maybe Devastator squads. They're going to be expensive in point cost as it is, but they're heavy weapons, so there's not going to be a whole lot of them. They're not tactical squads. Of course, they might as well be, but they're not tactical squads, so they've got heavy weapons, so they're going to be a little more expensive. They're not Chaos Space Marine squads. I mean, Havocs aren't Chaos Space Marine squads at all. They have to have heavy weapons. Given that they have the same profile, same point cost for the basic guys, their heavy weapons are more expensive. So if you're going to throw a Lictor at anything, I would throw them at heavy weapon squads or maybe minor support squads that are going to cause you problems. If you're fighting Space Marines and they've got scouts, take out those scouts, because odds are those scouts either have shotguns or they have sniper rifles, and sniper rifles are going to be a lot of trouble to your monstrous creatures. Hitting on a 4+ with the average scout, wounding on a 4+ automatic, and a 6 is a rend, those are going to tear your Carnifexes and your Hive Tyrants to pieces. So if anything, I would throw your Lictor at something that you know can't take it. Whenever I would field Gene Stealers, I would throw my Gene Stealers at basic tactical squads, at Chaos Space Marine squads, at scouts, at tanks. If you're going to throw any troops of choice or any infantry choice at a tank, I would throw Gene Stealers at. Gene Stealers can rip any kind of tank they very well please to pieces. If you give them Adrenal Glands, it gives them Furious Charge. It's an extra initiative, and it's an extra strength. Strength 5 with a rend, you're going to be able to glance a Land Raider at best, and that's pretty good, because Tyranids don't get that many things. Warp Lance is one thing, but that's a small range, and it's still a psychic shooting attack. With the Lictor, he can be gunned down, and if the enemy's directing all their firepower at the Lictor, as you stated, then the game is already yours, basically. If you just got one Lictor, that's all you need. If you've got one Lictor and he's destroying it, and he's not, I apologize, if you've got one Lictor and he's throwing all of his shots at it, that's your game, because if he's throwing all the shots at it, that's all your little creatures able to move around the board untouched. The Lictor is designed to be a get in there, get out kind of unit. Basically there to be a hit and run, as his special rule gives him, and a lot of people do use hit and run. Just because you state that nobody uses hit and run doesn't mean you shouldn't take advantage of it. It's a pretty damn good ability, I'll give you that much. You should try it, it's a lot of fun. Hopefully this has cleared a few things up. If you have any questions or comments or would like to post a video response to this as well, feel free, I accept it. If you guys need any help with anything at all, if you'd like to see some of our videos or if you'd like anything more, feel free to leave us a message or a comment or whatever. Remember guys, subscribe.